Hello everyone, it's Ashwin Rao. In today's video, I'm bringing you a second pair of boots to my collection because I simply couldn't have just one boot. I had to have two boots of the same model from Parkhurst Boots, yet featuring a different leather. This is their Allen boot using the Stitchdown construction. I have a second boot on reserve that I've already featured on this channel, which is in a Horween waxed flesh, which is going to be my Stitchdown Thunderdome pair. But I was so impressed with my initial take on that particular boot and really wanting to save it for the Stitchdown Thunderdome that I wanted to get a second pair that I could start to wear and break in. And so in the summer of 2024, Parkhurst released their Tempesti Veg Tan leather capsule, which is essentially a collection of their boots, their Allen Stitchdown boot, released using the Tempesti tannery out of Italy. I believe it's Conceria Tempesti, and using specifically a lightly finished veg tan leather in either burgundy, which is this color, a chestnut color, or a black color. Now, I believe they have another model currently available also in a cognac color, which would be a really nice option. But I decided to check out the burgundy pair, partly because I spoke with Andrew and he mentioned that the burgundy pair and this leather had quite a bit of color depth that he thought was quite unique. And I would have to agree. I was also strongly debating between the chestnut and the cognac colorways. I have enough black boots, but it ultimately came down to Andrew's suggestion coupled with my own collection having less military style service boots in burgundy colored leather. I also like the fact that burgundy, like brown, can be quite versatile for pairing with chinos, khakis, can even go with black, can go with denim. It's a versatile color that has a wide range of wearing applications. And I purchased this boot for a couple different reasons. One, I wanted to try the Stitchdown Allen boot because I'm really fond of this last, which is this asymmetric almond-shaped last. This is their 618 last. And I was also quite enamored by the Stitchdown detailing that you can see that this model features. This is this 270-degree double row Stitchdown boot. And I just wanted to break in a pair using a different leather and see where I could take it. And so this is pair number 2, something I've rarely, if ever done, gotten the same exact model in a different leather. I've already started to set the brake on this leather. I haven't actually worn it. I've just worn it inside the house on carpet to try to flex this middle portion of the leather to provide some gentle rolls here rather than some asymmetric or unsightly creases. This is a veg tan cowhide leather. Cowhide leathers have the potential to crease if they're not properly clicked. I'm not sure how this pair is clicked, so I wanted to set the crease by effectively taking a shoehorn first and then essentially applying it and then flexing the leather at the flex point, which looks like it takes place right in this area here. There's also a heel stiffener that starts right in this area right here. So another point for creasing. This midsole here, this thick leather midsole, does limit how flexible this shoe is. It's going to take some time to break in, which should also limit how much this leather breaks or creases in unusual ways. But I was really curious about how that leather would crease and ultimately form its role in its breaks. And I've never had any leather from the Tempesti tannery in any of my shoes, so I was also curious about what a Tempesti Veg Tan leather looks like. And so all of those thoughts came together and quote-unquote forced me to be compelled to purchase this pair. One thing he did mention that I didn't get right in my first video is that while the leather counter is a full grain leather counter, there is a Celastic heel stiffener and toe stiffener in here. So I said that this entire boot was made of leather, and that's what it kind of comes off as on the website, but there is in fact a Celastic toe and heel stiffener, which is something to factor in depending on how you feel about having your boots break in. So it's not necessarily a semi-structured build, it's actually a structured toe and a structured heel, just so you are aware. The only other thing that I will say differs in this pair compared to what you will receive is that I applied a slight bit of cream polish from Pure Polish. This is a Burgundy cream polish that I've had for a few years and gently been using, and a Burgundy wax polish, just because I like to protect the tip and the heel of the shoes from scratches or gouges. And I find that applying a little wax allows you to limit the amount of scuffing and hardware you get on a pair. I tend to like to take care of my boots rather than to let them run raw. And I therefore do that to try to preserve the quality of the shoe and to see how the natural breaks in the leather, like the ones that are already forming here, here, and a little bit across here, as you can see how they form. So if we pull in close, what you're really going to see, and ultimately what you get with this shoe when you purchase your own pair, is this more matte-like veg tan, almost like a dullish veg tan finish. The shine here is largely from the Pure Polish, but you can see it takes a good shine. I didn't have to work too hard to achieve this shine, but just so you know, that shine did come about because of Pure Polish products. And what you're going to likely get is something a little bit more matte finished when you get your pair. So this leather has started to break a little bit, and you can see a little bit of light micro creasing going on here. No major creases yet, although I imagine one will start to form either across here or here just based on the flex point of that shoe. But you can see when I flex this shoe, there's more of a curl to that leather rather than a creasing. So I think that this is going to actually break in and age quite well because of how stiff this midsole is and how this leather is a thicker leather. Speaking of the thickness, you can see that this is lined just along the collar here, but then it's an unlined shaft. So you're getting I believe it's like around a 5-ounce thickness leather here. This isn't the true thickness of leather because this is actually 2 pieces of leather juxtaposed here to create this collar here. But otherwise, you're getting nice, thick, robust leather that's not going to just crease on you. Thickness of the leather, just so you know, doesn't necessarily dictate creasing. I have some leather like a washed horsehide from Merriam Tannery, or even a calf hide from my most recent purchase from Two Monkeys, the Sportif boot, where that leather is rather thin and also doesn't crease. It tends to roll more. And leathers such as Chrome XL, for example, have been largely talked about as leathers that can have odd breaks or loose grain or harsh creasing, and you can win or not win the Chrome XL lottery, or other leathers as well. You might end up getting more harsh creasing. So I really like to try to break in my boots a little bit to make sure that once the boot is breaking, it's going to break a little bit more symmetrically rather than asymmetrically. And just curious how this leather is going to work out for me. So I'm going to be wearing this boot in fairly heavy rotation over the next couple months because I'm really excited about the model as well as the last and the comfort here. I will say, having spent a little bit more time just around the house in this shoe, the insole here does provide a little less arch support than I had initially thought in the original pair. There's a fairly flat footbed undermining the shoe here. And in the Horween wax flesh pair, that leather is so thick that that instep here and on the outside of the heel almost curve in a little bit more and create more of a sense of arch support there because of how thick that leather is. So to me, they do fit slightly differently, although very similarly in the toe box, a little different around the waist. I like how this shoe really grips your heel quite well. And ultimately, I'm looking forward to seeing how this pair develops over time. So the Tempesti Veg Tan capsule in Burgundy, the Allen Stitchdown boot, summer of 2024 release from Parkhurst Boots. Really excited about this model on their 618 last, using their new Stitchdown 270-degree construction, and wanted to give you guys a bit of a look. In my next video, I'm actually going to be talking a little bit more about the value proposition of Parkhurst and why you might choose a Parkhurst boot even if you might be able to afford Viberg. So is Parkhurst a better option than Viberg for those of you who are rugged, classic, or heritage footwear enthusiasts? Or is Viberg unassailable, simply the best out there in that widely available footwear demographic in the heritage space? Tune in to find out. We'll get through that in the next video. And I'll have some samples from both Viberg and obviously Parkhurst to go through that discussion. Hope you're doing well. Ashwin Rao. Hope you enjoy this first take of the Parkhurst Allen Tempesti Veg Tan capsule. Have a good one. Goodbye.